Well, I'll get started. My name is Cindy Schacht. I own Express Employment Professionals with my husband. We have two offices, one in Mequon and one in Jackson. Our niche would probably be the light industrial, mid-level, skilled trades, I would say. But we do the gamut. Whatever our clients need is what we do. We have been around for, well, I've been there for almost 9 years now. Terry opened the first office in Mequon, and that happened in 2002, I think. So we've been around for a while. We're in the community, and that's important to us. I think your Rotary thing is really a great idea. Getting into those organizations where you're not only volunteering your time and helping others, but you're also meeting and networking with a whole bunch of different people. Terry's been the president of the Mequon-Thiensville Sunrise Rotary. He was the president of the Mequon-Thiensville Chamber. I was on the board for the Greater Jackson Business Alliance. So I think involving yourself in the community somehow is always a good thing. It just gets your name out there in your face and people know who you are. So Express has been around for a while. We are a franchise. We're independently owned, and so it's basically territory based. Our territory is large. It's Ozaukee, Washington, and northern Milwaukee County. We didn't have an office always in Jackson, but this was always our territory. We decided to open the office when I joined, and the reason we did that was because there are a lot of good workers out in this area as well as companies to work with. And they were our clients already, so it was a good connection for us to have a place to interview, pick up checks, that kind of a thing. So when you're working with a staffing company, there's a couple things you should know. For us, there's 3 different types of opportunities we'd have. It'd be temporary, temp to hire, or a direct hire. Right now, we have all different types of positions in our system, but if you're looking for the upper level management, it's probably going to be a direct hire, professional placement, that type of thing. And how we accommodate that is, first of all, when you come in, we do have you fill out an application. You drug test with us, and we do that for everybody. That's one thing that we want to make sure that our clients have a candidate that can go to work and then they can hire them in the end. They're ready to go. We do skills evaluation with everybody, and we do some online testing as well. It could be prove-it tests like Excel, Word, those types of things, to see where you are in your skills. And those are done just by company placement. So if a certain company is asking for that, we're going to have you do that testing. So we're bringing you in, we have you do all the paperwork. You're going to sit down with one of us, and we're going to talk about your skills, ask some questions about what you're looking to do, how much do you want to make, those types of things. What's important for me, at this point in time, I've kind of switched my role a little bit. I'm trying to transition to only administrative placement. That's not working too well for us. We have hired a gal who's going to do industrial. She's training right now for our Jackson location, so cross our fingers, we hope that goes well. But even we have trouble finding staff, so it's all out there. It doesn't matter where you work. And the amount of people you see in a day. It's a personality thing. So what we're going to do then is have a conversation. And I think what's important to us is making sure that we're doing the right placement the first time. So we're going to take in your information, your resume, and we're going to present that out to our clients, and we're going to try to get you an interview. So that's the whole goal. A lot of times if I have administrative candidates or even industrial candidates that are looking for a higher wage, maybe in the 20s or better, I will take the resume first. I'll have a conversation with them over the phone. I'll present to a client and see if they will bite. I don't think it's a good idea to have a full database of a whole bunch of people we can't help. So our goal is to try to find work for our associates and good people for our employers. Let's see. So you interviewed with a couple staffing companies. Mm-hmm. So how has been your experience so far?
So far, I was pleasantly surprised with Agilon.
Mm-hmm.
They were extremely professional. Not that they wouldn't be, but it was a wow. Mm-hmm. They were very forthcoming with what the process was going to be, how I would be involved, how they would be involved, when an interview would come up, how they would handle that. They talked about how they would handle salary negotiation. They would do that on my behalf. I was really impressed.
Right.
It's, you know, one of those things you don't really love doing.
Right. No one wants to talk money.
You're right, right.
It's, yeah.
So they were great. This other firm I'm talking to tomorrow afternoon, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I was really impressed.
Have you experienced a staffing company?
Yeah, I worked with Xperis. They're the, I can't remember what, they're the technical unit or technical part of another company. I can't
Okay.
remember what the other company is, but, and then I've worked with recruiters in the past. That's still something that's on my list of things to do, is to start to work with retained recruiters. So
How was your experience in the past? Did you have a good experience or?
it was positive.
Yeah. I think it depends on the person you're working with and the communication. You know, it's interesting because you have to change your style, whoever you're talking to. If I'm interviewing a general labor candidate, I have to change the way I do things. If I'm dealing with a professional, I have to change the way I do things. So, and I also think that communication is huge. You know, to talk to people and be honest about what you're looking for. That's the one thing that, you know, I do a lot of in my business is I'm negotiating for my associate. I'm your advocate. So I want to make sure that if you need $25 an hour, that's what we're getting, you know, and we're going to try to get more. And I think that is a pleasant surprise to some people because it is a hard subject to talk about. No one wants to talk about, you know, the salary, what are the benefits, those types of things. So those are things that we want to get in advance so that when we're presenting the information to you, you know, you have an idea of what's going on.
Just a quick question. Have you tried IT consulting companies?
I had an interview with a consulting company, and that was a while ago, but I got the feeling that they were, how do I say this, what they were looking for, they hadn't really defined. And because they didn't really know where they were going,
Yeah.
I don't know if they saw me as a fit or not. It was an interesting interview. I went down to Rock Bottom Brewery and met them for lunch.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, consulting is definitely something that I would absolutely love to do.
I worked for many years in placing people in consulting.
I would love to do it. It would be a constant change of pace,
Right.
a constant, you know, it's not every company is large enough or has enough things that need to be resolved to have a full-time business analyst.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Well, and
You
you,
might have something, so, you know, wouldn't hurt to look up a list of all those IT companies that are left in Milwaukee and contact them. And today, they don't hire people for the bench as much as they used to. I mean,
Right.
we used to hire bench people back in 2000 when the millennium changed and God, we couldn't find enough people. But now they'll hire you when they have a job.
right, when there's a need.
Exactly. But still, then you get your name in there and get a positive perception, you know, then
Right.
comes up, they'll call you.
The one thing that you did mention that is very interesting is you didn't think they really defined what the position was. That happens all the time. They'll call you with a wish list and you're like, well, do you really need that or do you not? So a lot of times, even in our field, it's hard to pin them down to what the real need is or if they're really looking. So you don't want to waste a lot of time on those, you know, wish lists because, and it's hard to recognize because you're so hoping this is going to be the one. So,
Well, and the consulting company doesn't know what's going to come in the front door.
right.
So
Well,
you gotta
IT is
wait
one of
till
those
it comes in
flexible
the front
things. You're
door.
constantly learning new skills. Constantly, you know, since I've left, I've gone back and gotten my business analysis certificate to certify my knowledge.
Yeah.
I did a communications class in 3 days. I did an intro to SQL class. This field is, you're never just staying with the same skill set
Right.
forever. You're all over the place.
Yeah. So how the process works for us is you're doing the interview process, you're doing the drug test, you're Doing the skills evaluation, I'm calling your references. The one thing that I like to mention too is if you do put people on your list for referencing, make sure you tell them you're doing that and that someone might call them. Because there are many, many times where I'll place a phone call and they will not call me back. And it's like, well, then I have to call you back and say, hey, did you tell them? Oh, well, no, or yeah, but you need to call them and say, call me back, because it's important for you to get that good feedback. Because that's...
That happens, Cindy. It is a strange story, but a person gave me a reference to call. They hadn't talked to them about it. I called that reference and they gave them a bad reference.
Right. And it's like, did they really know that was going to happen? They never would have given you that name, right? So yeah, so make sure the people you're listing as your reference are good ones. I mean, yeah. And then, you know, make sure they know to call you back. That's important. Because that's what we're selling you on. You know, we're selling you on the feedback that we're getting from the people you're giving us to talk to. And that's the important key. And really, that's what my job is. It's a lot of sales. I have to get to know you, I have to get to know you, and I have to try to really understand what it is you're looking for, what is the little nuance that would, you know, excite you. And then I have to go back to find my company and go, okay, they would fit well there, to make sure. So that's the nice thing about working with a staffing company is we do talk to a lot of people in a day, a lot of businesses, and a lot of associates. So we can make that connection a little bit easier.
A little bit more about that reference business. A smart HR recruiter will not necessarily always call the references that you want them to call. But who they will try to call is your supervisors and managers. So you need to call your previous managers and supervisors,
right,
and say, will you give me a reference and what will you say?
Right.
And if that boss says, well, you know, I can't give you a good reference.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. At least I know where you're going.
And the other thing that they could say is, well, I'm going to send them to HR.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to say anything.
Right. Yeah.
My goal is to get a supervisor or someone who's worked with you directly, because that's where I'm going to get the most information. HR is just basically, yes, they worked here from when to when. This is what they made, and I don't know why they left. You know, that tells me nothing. So, and I also think it's good to be honest about what happened at your previous employer. If you were let go, you know, okay, you might be a little embarrassed, but you need to get over it. And you need to be honest about it and say, this is what happened. It wasn't a good match or whatever the situation, and I'm trying to move on from that. I don't think it's a good idea to hide things or try not to talk about the bad stuff, because it's going to come out somehow, some way. It always does. The other thing that I like to mention with Express is we do offer a lot of benefits for our associates. And I know a lot of times that upper or mid-level management think, well, I don't want to be working for a temporary company. I don't want to be a temp. Well, temp to hire or direct hire is the way that all the businesses that we work with are trying to try out somebody. That's their chosen method of bringing them into their payroll. So you would receive benefits from Express because we do feel we're an employer, we're real. So we offer health benefits, we offer dental, vision, short-term disability, life insurance, 401k. We do have, let's see, what else do we offer? Holiday pay, vacation time. So you have the opportunity to earn those things just as if you were at a real company, but you're with Express. And a lot of times businesses use us to take care of a gap. So they have a hiring freeze on. Well, we can bring them on as a temporary associate when we know we can hire them maybe in 6 months later, June. So there's a lot of times where that happens as well. Does anybody have any questions?
Do the businesses have to buy out the rest of the employees' contract with you and then convert them over to hire?
No, they do not. Our totals are 520 hours. So you would be on our payroll for 520 hours, and that's the agreement we have with the company. If they like you, they can buy you out of the contract. We will most definitely, we would love that. But they can also extend it. So it works both ways. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything that I missed?
Anything else that might be important?
I know, I'm trying to think. Oh, I did give you some information. I gave you a a couple brochures, and I gave you our flyer, which is basically we hand these out at job fairs, and it just kind of talks about some of the skilled levels that we have available right now. How to get a job. This is a really nice little brochure that was put together for our corporate that, you know, kind of talks about how to put your resume together. It gives you some good insight into yourself and, you know, asking those hard questions. I do think that survey you talked about doing online is really, yeah, that's a really good idea because it does give you good insight on how your skills can transfer to something else. A lot of times we have to help them understand how that happens. You know, if companies don't recognize it, you have to tell them. So, and then how to keep a job. This talks about the soft skills, you know, on how to be a good employee. This is one of these little booklets that I think we probably should hand out at the high schools so that they can understand, you know, how to, you know, they can get a job because they're young and enthusiastic, but can they keep it? Do they recognize they have to be at work every day on time? You know, if you run over by me and pick up your paycheck while you've punched in at the other company, guess what? That's called stealing time. You can't do that. You know, so there's a few things that we probably could teach them in regards to that. Yeah.
This is nice. This is very nice.
Cindy, does your website have a listing of?
Yes. All of our jobs are online. If you go to our website, you'll be able to see what we have available. We also work with multiple other offices. So because Express is a franchise, there are multiple offices in the Milwaukee area, Brookfield, Waukesha, Racine, La Crosse, they're all over. So if you do want to work with an Express office, you do come in, you interview with us. You would have to go to that office as well if it's out of our territory.
How many jobs are you getting these days in the professional area? You get a lot of orders from them?
I have 3 on my desk right now, all in the admin, upper level office management, executive assistant, those types of positions. It's interesting because they're trying to do it on their own right now. They don't necessarily want to have to pay me, but when they run into trouble, they'll come. The problem that I'm running into right now is it's all part-time.
Oh, part-time.
I need a part-time purchasing assistant. I need a part-time admin assistant.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's been the trend recently.
Are you dealing anything in like the engineering or the IT areas these days?
That's not the norm for us.
Not so much. Okay.
No. Mm-mm. Nope. And I think it's because we're really known for that mid-level position placement. That's why we're really trying to focus on the admin at this point, because we want our companies to know that we do other things besides, you know, a welder or a general labor machine operator. Right. Right now, there are not enough skilled workers out there for us to place at the companies who need them. What we are finding is that there's a lot of admin positions available. There's a lot of administrative candidates available. So we're trying to change our focus a little bit.
How about your other franchise offices, not connected with your company, but the ones like, say, around Milwaukee? Would they be dealing in any of those other professional
Yes,
areas?
most definitely.
That's what I'm thinking about for you, team.
I would think the downtown office would have more opportunity for you, even Brookfield.
Yeah.
Because we're more rural. I mean, we deal with Milwaukee, but it's Good Hope and North.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some great companies in the Mequon area, but they're not using us for that type of a position.
Yeah. So it'd still be valuable maybe if Tina could get hold of you and
Yes.
get into the system and
Yes.
start searching.
Yeah.
for your-
What we could do is put her in contact with the downtown office and see if and we can go to the website and see what they have available. I did learn something new today. One of my associates came in and showed me on his phone how he has our app and he can pull up our listings. And he said this one here, and I'm like, oh, that one's in Butler. That's not me. And I was like, oh, okay, so you pull up Express and it gives you all of the jobs? That's really cool. You know, so the website does it automatically. So I think there are things out there. It's just a matter of looking.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, we're good. Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you.